Charlie. Good to be with you, I tell you.
Hello, Captain Stabbert.
Wonderful broadcast, Charlie.
Thank you. Be seated, fellas. Say, what is the whole story behind that miracle medical missionary adventure?
Remember Willis Shank?
Yes, he was the Youth for Christ director up in Seattle, Washington, wasn't he?
That's right. Well, Willis made a flying trip up to Alaska. While he was there, he really became concerned about the physical and spiritual condition of people up there. When he got back, why, he got a hold of Dr. McClenny and myself, and we talked quite a bit about the conditions in Alaska.
Who is this Dr. McClenny? A medical doctor?
Right. A grand doctor and a real soul winner. Well, one night after Youth for Christ meeting, Willis and Dr. McClenny and myself, we were in a little restaurant having a cup of coffee, talking about what we would like to do for the people up in Alaska. We were wondering if we could get a surplus vessel and maybe convert it into a medical missionary ship. We talked until about midnight. Willis had to leave because he had to get up real early and catch a plane to go to Alaska about 5:45 the next morning.
As I remember correctly, he was going back up there to dedicate a new mission station, wasn't he?
That's right, Charlie. But Willis Shank never reached Ketchikan. Tell him about it, Cap. The plane crashed on a peak in Alaska, and at 1:15 that afternoon, Willis went to be with the Lord. But the results were that God made us serious, Charlie. We got to praying and believing what could be done, and we asked God to lead us. As a result, we purchased an old minesweeper. And when 337 swept into the harbor at Seattle, she was a ship that only a mother could love, but what a beauty to us when we saw what God could do.
What did you call the ship, Cap?
Well, after Willis' sacrifice in Alaska, it just almost had to be called Willis Shank.
And what did you choose for the name of the missionary enterprise?
After much prayer, Charlie, we named it the Marine Medical Mission.
You seem to stress the medical end of the ministry, Merv.
We feel that we're going to be able to reach a spiritual need by first reaching a physical need. And so, Charlie, we have aboard ship an 8-bed hospital. We have equipment for surgery, for x-ray, for dentistry. We have 3 nurses. We have a doctor, a dentist, and all of the crew, aside from those who preach the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ in the chapel, that seats 85 people aboard the largest missionary vessel afloat. And now, ahead of us is a vision of the future, if we can just believe God for His wonderful promises. Remembering the life that was given to God on this mountain peak, we dedicate ourselves to the vision of souls in Alaska. The sailing date for the Willis Shank, the largest missionary boat afloat, was set for July 24th. The whole crew worked day and night so that the 136-foot miracle ship would be ready and loaded. At noon Sunday, July 24th, the 2 500-horsepower diesel engines took the Willis Shank through the canal, past the Aurora Bridge to the dedication service. Hundreds of friends gathered around to pray victory upon this mission of mercy to Alaska. And now we want you to meet the personalities whose hearts and hands made possible the Marine Medical Mission. Captain Stabbert, his wife, and 5 little Stabberts. Dr. L.E. McClenny, the surgeon, with his family, and also his mother. Dr. Cowie, that wonderful preacher, and his family. Dr. McClenny, Captain Stabbert, and the 2 nurses, and Bud Harting. The fellow in overalls is the engineer. All of our friends standing by to do the job for God. The dedication service is over. The goodbyes are said. A few tears. The Willis Shank moves to the locks to accept the challenge of God in Alaska. Her crew members take one last look at Seattle and its harbor, and then set their faces toward the spiritual battle in Alaska as the Willis Shank puts out to sea. The Willis Shank heads for her water parish of these villages. And on the way we see beautifully situated Sitka, home of the Sheldon Jackson Junior College. While organizations have built fine educational facilities such as this college here in the shadow of beautiful Mount Edgecombe, in some sections of Alaska, many areas wait for the touch of a band. Speaking of confidence, the missionaries have shown theirs by warm welcome in different ports. They appreciate the ministry of the miracle ship, which wants to be extra hands, extra feet, extra hearts for the great missionary needs of those good people. One missionary had labored 4 years without seeing any growth or visible fruit whatsoever in his village. He was totally discouraged and ready to quit. But the work of the gospel ship, the miracle ship, challenged him anew, and he has taken heart again and is back at his post for God winning souls. At Heidelberg, the church had burned down 2 years previous. The missionary had struggled to rebuild, but the only thing accomplished was the setting of foundation posts and the leveling of ground. But here was a chance to rebuild a church and to rebuild an opportunity. And the crew of the good ship Willis Shank set to work. When the superintendent of the grade school saw them at work, he sent over some 8th grade boys to help in the building. Klawak, a village of 400 native people with only 2 white families. As many as 15 people live in these small 2-room shacks. The Marine Medical Mission cooperates with the churches here and holds meetings in their buildings whenever possible. In Klawak, the Salvation Army Hall is often the scene of a good gospel meeting where men know Jesus Christ at the place of prayer. The battle of indifference, which the crew of the Willis Shank was prepared to fight possibly for 2 or 3 years, has been almost won in 10 short months by the miracle ship, which has sailed its way right into the hearts of the people. Their native love for boats has brought them to shipside, and the Marine Medical Mission, and consequently their bodies and souls, have felt its ministry. What a mission field, this Alaska. What a need in this land of opportunity. And what an opportunity to reach men for God. Dr. McClenny has given up opportunities to direct large hospitals so that he might here in Alaska meet a large need. Captain Stabbert has given up his construction business and without 1 penny of remuneration has invested his life for God to reach these people for Jesus Christ. Everyone aboard ship is sacrificed, and how miraculously God has brought them together. Sacrificed to fight the battles of the Northwest waters to reach men for God. You can help in this battle. We need your prayers and your heart interest. This work of faith, of course, is not endowed or underwritten by any person of wealth. Only as we stand together in praying and giving can the miracle ship continue to carry out its great commission. Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Remember, Alaska needs your heart and your prayers. And the miracle ship is your ship. And the Marine Medical Mission wants to serve you and serve God and serve Alaska.